Because when I got to sort of 18, I went away to university up at Liverpool, and then worked in the Northwest for a while, got married in the Northwest, and then came back south but lived in Essex. And so I didn't really resume being a regular supporter of Enfield Football Club until maybe 16, 17 years ago, when I used to come across here from Essex, take my dad down, and we used to go and watch Enfield Football Club play. And we were watching them at the time when the ground was lost and the problems arose.
You know, the football club, Enfield Football Club, brought so much pride to the name of the borough of Enfield, and it was going to be lost. So we did what we could. So we started off as a protest group, and from there we eventually organised ourselves. I think we were very much a disorganised rabble to begin with, but at the time this was all happening, the organisation Supporters Direct was coming into being, which was looking to have a voice for supporters, so that supporters could, instead of just turning up to see their club and be and contribute for the supporters clubs, that their contribution would be a little bit more than that. They would have a say in the running of their clubs. So at the time, say we were this protest group, this new movement came into being, and we were fortunate that that happened at that time. So they changed us from being a disorganised rabble into probably an organised rabble. And that's where we then decided, you know, you know, there's another way forward here, and supporters, you know, can take the mantle up themselves. And if there's no choice, as which we felt there was, it's a long story, but unfortunately they felt that there was no choice left other than start a new club in the borough. Otherwise, you know, senior football to the degree that we'd known in the past was going to be lost. So.
Because more and more clubs are realising, or more and more fans are realising, that they can have some say and some control over what goes on, simply because the way we run our club is a very, very democratic way we run. As I said before, when someone's at the top and he's got all the money, he can do what he likes. The fans can boycott it to a certain extent, but you will always get a certain amount of fans that will go along, that will keep the club going. But more and more fans are getting fed up with that, and there's more and more breakaway clubs of main clubs now. Manchester City, Manchester United, or FC United of Manchester, whatever they're called. More and more clubs are doing it because I think they want more control over what's going on. They're fed up with being told what's going to happen, and they want more control on what they're putting their money into, if you like. They go and pay their money through the turnstile each week or whatever, and they want more control of you know, and a little bit of a say of what happens. And they don't want to just be told, well, this is what's going to happen, and that's it, take it or leave it.
Football gives me all sorts of things. It gives me the challenges that I've faced with this project and with running a football club. But it gives me a social life. I mean, I've known a lot of the people at this club I've known for 30 years. They're long old friends of mine, long-standing friends of mine. It's the other thing that I think football does, which I think perhaps society in general has lost, is it brings the age groups together, brings the generations together. Apprenticeships and what have you are a thing of the past, but at a football club, on a match day, you get everybody from a 2-year-old to an 82-year-old all together, and it also cuts across class as well. You get everybody from a chairman of a company to, I don't know, a dustman. It doesn't matter. The common thing that brings everyone together is the game and the club. And you can see everybody sitting down together, talking about their common interest.
When I was younger, I wasn't really as into it as a lot of young kids start now. My father was in the army, so we used to box, we used to do judo and things like that. And then when we moved to Enfield when I was about 6 or 7, basically there wasn't a good judo club. That's how it came about. So, and I liked playing football. I played for the school and everything at that age. And then when we came here, you know, you have a social element, don't you? Because, you know, things like judo and boxing and things like that, it's a singular sport, you know. You don't have that team ethic and you don't have the social aspect to it. So I'd always liked it, and then I thought I'd start trying to take it a little bit more seriously, really. What it means, it just means everything, really. You know, it's one of those things that it either does mean everything or it doesn't. You know, and I think some players play and they're not really bothered sometimes whether they win or lose, and then there's other players who want to win at all costs, and that's my category. So yeah, so that's why I got into it.
I think, like every kid, you start off in the playground. With, you know, your dinner lady or your school teacher would give you had an hour's break and everyone wanted to play football, and then like instead of a normal 11 or so, it was like 30 on one side, 30 on the other, and you know, it was all sorts. But you used to have this, I remember you used to have this immaculate ball at the start of every term, and then by the end of it you go from this immaculate ball to week 1 where it was dishevelled, to finally by the 4th week in that term you were playing virtually with a stone. And that's how passionate us kids were. We would find anything, and it would be a Pacific stone that you could only kick around in week 4, because the ball that we had used was either on the roof of the playground and we weren't allowed to get it, or it was just totally in pieces. I remember the sponge balls, there was 3 different bits of sponges, and yeah, it was but as you work your way out from the school, and I think it's year 4, it might be different now, year 5, then that's when you can go through to the school team and actually play outside of school. So yeah, it was mainly like every kid playing in the playground, probably better equipment nowadays, but